Fuck! Oh, it's horse beef here. And today, I'm going to be ranking the dirtiest fighters in UFC history. I don't have to explain the rating scale to you guys, top being the dirtiest, bottom being the least dirty, although I will be comparing the objectively most dirty fighters of all time. So they're all dirty at the end of the day, although at the very bottom, maybe D tier would be maybe like one or two cases of dirty tactics. But yeah, towards the top, you'll definitely see some of the fucking most vile fighters of all time, and some of the placements might even surprise you. You know what I'm saying? Conor McGregor first. The only two like real examples of cheating I can think of from Conor McGregor, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but against Dustin Poirier, where he was hooking the gloves, clearly trying to land up kicks, like pulling him into the up kicks with no repercussions from Herb Dean, I believe it was, and against Khabib, illegal knee on the ground, a blatant one, which I mean, the fight wasn't even stopped as a result. We've seen fucking Aljamain Sterling would use that one to fucking quit and, you know, fucking steal the title from Petr Yan, but I won't get into that one yet. But Conor McGregor, I would say, is deserving of being, maybe as things stand, C tier, man, because it was blatant cheating that he was getting away with against Poirier and Khabib specifically. So, Conor McGregor, C tier. Josh Koscheck, I would say, probably has to go up at A tier. Used to milk every situation for himself. Like if he was hit illegally, he would milk it to the furthest extent possible, much like Aljamain Sterling. Illegal techniques, eye pokes, just general bitch ass behavior. Josh Koscheck was a piece of trash, you know, but a great villain to root against. A tier for him, man. Aljamain Sterling, now he's not even really a dirty fighter. I just wanted to include him on the list because he robbed Petr Yan of having a belt because of his dirty acting tactics. But I will put him in D tier just to be completely realistic here. But I just had to include him because of what he did to my boy Petr Yan. Oh, speaking of Petr Yan, who fights this weekend, oh my god, I'm excited. Petr Yan goes in D tier as well because he didn't even cheat. He shouldn't even be on the list, but technically he threw an illegal technique, and he's been warned a few times for keeping his fingers out there and all that, but not. Petr Yan's never cheated a day in his life. That illegal knee should not have ever been illegal, so I'm going to put him in D tier. Petr Yan, he's not dirty one bit. I'd say he's one of the cleanest fighters of all time, dude. And then we get into Matt Lindland. This dude would not shower before fights, which is hilarious, so I can't rank him very highly because, I mean, he's not exactly harming his opponents. He's just making his opponents uncomfortable in there by smelling like shit. Kind of funny and kind of makes sense, and I don't believe it's against the rules. Correct me if I'm wrong. It actually might be against the rules. I don't really know. But Matt Lindland only deserves to be down there in D tier. Then we get into Rousimar Palhares. Now, here's the thing about grappling cheaters, right? Cheaters who are predominantly grapplers are, for me, even bigger douchebags than any other type of cheater, because if you're holding on to your submissions for too long, you are arguably purposefully trying to harm your opponent and affect your opponent's careers, right? The heel hooks genuinely serving up career-altering damage to his opponents. Rousimar Palhares is a certified piece of shit, banned from the UFC. I believe he was banned from the UFC for a reason. If he's not, then serious questions must be asked, because this dude is deserving of all the bans from all MMA organizations. Piece of trash. Yeah. Hate him. Everyone should hate him. If you're an MMA fan, you should hate him. Piece of shit, dude. Great grappler for sure, but would hold on to those submissions for far too long. And it was just a general piece of shit, man. And then we get into Michael Chandler. Is he S tier? Is he A tier? In his last few fights, we've seen some really, really egregious examples of cheating. We've seen eye pokes. We've seen fish hooking. We've seen him blow his snotty blood clots into the mouth of Dustin Poirier. Fucking disgusting. And I love Dustin Poirier, so you lose points for that, Michael Chandler. And then you get the litany of cheating, variety of cheating as well, really, against Charles Oliveira, right? Like pretty much everything under the sun you could think of. The blatant string of back of the head shots, like a good 20 back of the head shots, dude. It was very blatant. The back of the headshots were clearly intentional. We're talking eye pokes. We're talking fence grabs. Everything. Every single thing that you can really do in a fight in order to cheat. Michael Chandler does it. Does he deserve to be in the same class as Rousimar Palhares, though, because he's not holding on to submissions too long and being a piece of shit about it. At least he's giving us entertaining fights, but he is blatantly cheating. But I would actually say that he deserves to be in more of a class of Josh Koscheck, because I get it, right? Michael Chandler is a blatant cheater. And to put him in A tier isn't to say that he's any less of a cheater than Rousimar Palhares. I just mean that the damaging nature of Palhares' cheating needs to be recognized higher than Michael Chandler's. You know what I mean? But Michael Chandler is a blatant cheater, and ranking him with Josh Koscheck is very telling. If you watch Josh Koscheck during his time in the UFC, you know what I'm talking about. He was a rat piece of shit. So, yeah, Michael Chandler, I believe, deserves to be at A tier. If there is a void between A and S, I believe that's where Michael Chandler would go. So yeah, then we get into Gilbert Yvel. This dude has to go at the very top. If you didn't know who Gilbert Yvel was, he was fighting during simpler times, when there were very few rules going around and you could do almost anything, and he had 3 disqualifications during that time under his belt, and even one of those disqualifications was down to him sleeping the referee. Yeah, I don't know if I could think of a dirtier fighter. I mean, like to receive 3 disqualifications during that time period, you have to be a special kind of dirtbag fighter. So arguably he deserves to be ahead of Palhares, but there's just something about holding on to submissions too long that really pisses me off. So Palhares, you have a special place up there. You deserve to be arguably in your own tier, on your own, you fuckhead. But yeah, Gilbert Yvel is pretty close to Palhares as far as just being the dirtiest fighter. Then we get into Erick Silva. Now maybe I put him in like B tier. Yeah, like there's a special place on this list for people who just fake glove touch, and I can't think of too many other examples from Erick Silva, but I feel like a fake glove touch is just such a scummy thing to do. So I'm just gonna stick him in B tier for that reason alone, because I cannot stand a fake glove touch. It's just a ratty thing to do. And then we get into Mike Kyle. Mike Kyle was a biter. He was a dirty biter, arguably one of the biggest cheaters of all time. I'm going to stick him in A tier. He may even deserve to be an S tier. Biting and also punching his opponents after the referee was stopping the fight. So, yeah, deliberately trying to harm his opponents after they're already unconscious. Arguably deserving a fucking attempted murder charge for that kind of shit. But yeah, man, I would say Mike Kyle, he you know what, man, he might even be pushing the boundaries of being an S tier because he was such a dirty piece of shit. Yeah, I'm going to keep him in S tier because he genuinely tried to continue beating on his opponent while he was unconscious, while the ref was trying to pull him off, which is, like I said, man, borderline attempted murder. Then we get into Mike the Count Bisbing. I'll put him in like B tier because he was a cheater. We did see some eye pokes, spitting, on his opponent's corners after the fights. I mean, it's not dirty within the fight, but it's just a dirty, nasty thing to do in general, just as a human being. I feel like it, you lack something, you lack some kind of character in order to bring yourself to do that, right? After a fight, after a sanctioned fight, it's kind of dirty. But yeah, the illegal knees as well for Michael Bisbing. I think he perfectly belongs in the B tier of dirty fighters. John Jones. This one is a tough one because he's the most notorious cheater of all time, because he's the most successful cheater of all time. He wouldn't exactly, deliver life-altering damage to his opponents, but if you consider oblique kicks to be dirty tactic, which I think they are, I think they should actually be banned. I believe that oblique kick should be banned because it's the intention of completely debilitating your opponent and limiting their completely shutting off their ability to even move by destroying the knee, which is super dirty. So you know what? Nah. I'm not gonna be fair to John Jones. I'm gonna stick him right at the very top because he fucking deserves to be at the very top. Because this man would deliberately eye poke his opponents, admit to it, and then still never receive a point deduction for doing so. Landed an illegal knee on Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith could have taken the opportunity to steal some kind of a decision from that fight, right? Get a DQ win or something there, but he didn't take it. And John Jones held on to that belt despite cheating deliberately, although it wasn't the worst illegal knee in the world. And I respect Anthony Smith at the end of the day for not acting like Aljamain Sterling there. But yeah, John Jones, I don't have to explain it. Eye pokes, oblique kicks, trying to harm his opponents. Even the shoulder cranks that he was pulling off against Glover Teixeira may not be illegal, but it's a dirty tactic, right? John Jones perfectly encapsulates a dirty fighter. Maybe not to the extent of someone like Gilbert Yvel or Palhares, though, to be honest. So is he the dirtiest fighter of all time? No. But the most notorious? Yeah, probably. But then we get into Chris Weidman. Now, he's really only here for one reason. The double eye pokes on Bruno Silva pisses me off, and then these subsequent comments after the fight.
I'll never question a guy if he's saying he gets poked in the eye, but you can't just drop every time you feel like something's touching your eyeball.
What a piece of shit, man. I hate that. This alone has to land Chris Weidman on the list. Although I have to be fair, because he doesn't have a long history of cheating, but the cheating that he has committed is so bad. So I have to, you know what, I'll rank him there with Conor McGregor. He's not a notorious cheater, but the example that we have is one of the most annoying, at least in modern history. Chris Weidman, you're a douche. And then we move on. Cheick Kongo, groin strikes. I think he admitted to throwing deliberate groin strikes as well. A few eye pokes in there throughout his career too. Yeah, Cheick Kongo, I'd say, deserves to be in C tier probably as far as dirty fighters go. Ooh, and then we get into a jiu-jitsu dork, man. Royce Gracie. And this is the reason why I think jiu-jitsu nerds are so weird. Because jiu-jitsu cheaters are just such assholes. What makes you feel good about holding on to a submission after your opponent had tap? I don't understand the rhyme or reason behind it. You have to be a real rat to do such a thing. And Royce Gracie snapped one of his opponent's arms, deliberate groin punches. And like, I know he fought during a time where there were very little rules, but he would really push the boundaries even for that time, just like Gilbert Yvel did. And he may not be as known for his cheating, but he was really bad with it, dude. I'm talking about like serious deliberate repeated groin strikes against Sakuraba. You can see him genuinely eyeing up his nuts and feeding him shots into his ball sack region on purpose. I cannot think of someone on this list that I would rather just give one of these, just to give a nice meaty hook, as Lucas Tracy would say, to. Other than Royce Gracie for some reason. In his prime, though, I would never punch an old man. But there's just something about these jiu-jitsu dorks, man. They piss me off and they cheat. Fuck these guys, dude. Such a soft martial art on its own. Incoming jiu-jitsu nerds in the comments crying, ooh. Shut the fuck up. Jiu-jitsu is soft. All right? It's soft. Daniel Cormier. Now, he isn't a notorious cheater like some of the other cases, here, like Chris Weidman. But he was so obviously attempting to eye poke Stipe Miocic. But it's not like he's a repeated offender. You know what I mean? He's not some crazy repeated offender. It's really just against Stipe. I don't know what it was with him against Stipe where he felt the need to eye poke him constantly, but he did it in all three fights, and then Stipe got him one back. He got him one back in the third fight. I think deservingly so. One of the nastier eye pokes of all time at that. But DC, I wouldn't say he's that bad, man. He's not like a Petr Yan. No, I would say C tier for DC, just because he's not a crazy repeated offender. You feel what I'm saying? And I have a lot of respect for DC. He's one of the all-time greats. Then we get into Sean O'Malley. I'm sticking him on this list just because he deliberately cheated against Petr Yan, was grabbing the cage, hooking the gloves, and really wasn't warned as much as he should have been. So yeah, deliberate cheater. Not as notorious, right? Not ending opponents' careers. So I'll be fair to Sean O'Malley and put him down here, even though I hate the fact that he cheated and ended up robbing Petr Yan. So is this a vindictive placement on the list? Just to even consider Sean O'Malley as one of the dirtier fighters? Absolutely it is. But I make the rules, so I'm putting him on this fucking list, dude. Sean O'Malley, fuck you for cheating against Petr Yan, buddy. He's coming after you. He's getting that one back, all right? Then we get into Yoel Romero. Now, he has some funny cheating. Pointing one way and then dropping Paulo Costa. You can consider that a dirty tactic, but Paulo Costa is just a goofy boy for even falling for it in the first place, and I think it's more funny than anything. But Yoel Romero is a multiple repeated offender, but his cheating didn't really lead to like injury for his opponents. It was more of him just trying to cheat his way into getting more time on the stool between rounds, but then did lead to him knocking out Tim Kennedy soon after, right? Pouring water all over himself to try and buy more time. Yeah, man. Yoel Romero, he's a sly one with the cheating. He is a sly one. Does he deserve? I mean, yeah, dude. Yeah. You know what? Nah. Yoel Romero goes B tier. Erick Silva, I'll bring you down to C tier because I don't know if he's a repeated offender. But Yoel Romero and Michael Bisbing are repeat offenders, so they have to be in B tier. And then we get into Gerard Gordeau. I'm putting him right up here. This old man, dude, he blinded an opponent and tried to bite an opponent's ear off. I believe it was Royce Gracie. I think he attempted to bite Royce Gracie's ear off. Gerard Gordeau, you are the epitome of a dirty, filthy ratscallion of a fighter. So you have to go at the very top. There's no other place. Like if you're attempting to bite a man's ear off, and also you have a blinding of an opponent under your record, whatever you would call that, right? That's crazy. You may be one of the only fighters in history to have a blinding of an opponent on your record, other than maybe TRT Belfort, but he blinded Michael Bisbing with a legal high kick, you know what I'm saying? But that does conclude the tier list, everybody. Maybe a short one for you guys here. There aren't really too many fighters I wanted to include here. I could have included a bunch of ones just to stick in the very bottom tier, but I believe I picked out some of the dirtiest fighters of all time. You know what, man? Now that I'm looking at it, Royce Gracie, it doesn't sit right having him in A tier. He has to be an S, right? Did I not mention holding onto a submission for far too long, and almost it seems deliberate, right? That he snapped his opponent's arm, and if you watch it and you're some kind of a decent human being, it should make you sick to your stomach enough to where you agree that this motherfucker deserves to be in S tier. And not to mention that he was on steroids going into his second fight against Sakuraba, where he ended up winning, tested positive for steroids, and the result still wasn't overturned. The Gracie legacy as a whole to me is just super questionable, and I feel like the ego of the Gracies is really what lets them down overall, to the point where the most well-renowned, world-renowned Gracie is a steroid cheat and a multiple-time offender. Dude, I'm just not a big fan of the Gracies, right? You might not like me for that. Right? You might think it's disrespectful to say so, but I think that the Gracie family are a bunch of frauds at the end of the day when it comes to cheating and just overall foul play. Yeah, and if you think I missed one, if you think I ranked certain fighters unfairly, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be, if you disagree, you agree. I don't care, man. Just your thoughts in general on the video and any future video ideas that you have for me that you'd like to see me cover personally. Just let me know, man. I'll add them to the list. And as always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.